Hello, everyone, and welcome. We'll start in about 5 minutes. While you're coming in, please just get settled, get your feet on the ground. This is going to be a ride, and I hope that we will leave this really just feeling in flow with our businesses and our lives and with our being, and just go into really truly being the real raw you. So go ahead and take a moment and relax, and we'll get started in just a minute. All right, guys, on the chat, I just asked you what your favorite color was. So just to get the conversation going, will you go ahead and put in your color there so that I can see you guys? And let's just wake up this call and this conversation. I really want you guys a part of this. This is, conversation. It's live. And I would love for you guys to, chime in. Let me know, like, what's your favorite color? Let's just start there, right? I mean, I know we're from like all walks of life. Green, woohoo! I love green. Peach, teal. One time I asked my list, oh my gosh, talk about getting some feedback. One time I asked them, I said, what's your favorite ice cream, right? And I got like all kinds of velvety red, magenta, with sparkles. And I was like, ooh, sometimes when you ask a question, you just don't know what you're going to get back. And that was just one of those things that was like, woohoo. So we've got fuchsia, so that's a great color. We've got yellow, green, red, teal, peach. I love the colors that sort of remind me of fruits, that like color watermelon, right? Yeah. So as you come on, just want to hear from you guys, want to make sure our chat's working. Let's play. I really expect this to just be play today. One of the things that I know in my business is that if I don't make it all play, then you know what? Nobody has any fun. So let's play, let's get in the flow, let's leave really having play in our world, and let's see what's possible. This is a program that, and then like this whole, hour long, maybe even longer. Ooh, sunshine yellow, woohoo! Love that one. This webinar is just, I just fall in love with it. Every time I present even something around it. Hi, Deb from Illinois. Welcome. If you're just popping on, I asked you about what your favorite color was. Hers is hot pink. Yes. What your favorite color is, just to start the chat going, to say hello to all you guys and to welcome you. We've got 1 more minute before we start. I invite you to get present. I posted both of my links here for the social medias that I really show up on. And I've been playing around on Snapchat, which I love, by the way. I sort of love like sneaking into people's lives and stalking them. So if you want to stalk me, we're going to be, sharing some of the videos that we're making this week for YouTube and a few of the other things. So if you want to stalk me, find me on Snapchat, Real Raw You. Welcome. The Google invite was wrong, so I apologize for that. Thanks for being here. I tried to send enough emails that y'all were like, oh, okay, I know that it's now, and I'll do my best to make sure they've got time for the replay and things like that. So I'm glad somebody pointed that out to me. That's great. So there isn't another webinar in a couple hours. This is it. And thanks for being here. Listening from Orlando, Florida. My favorite color is blue. Welcome. Yeah, where are you from? I'd love to hear where you're from. Sweet. Electric Blue. Yeah. That makes me remember that song, Electric Blue. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. I want you guys to leave this, one, kind of getting the gist of my program, Whisper Mapping, because it is something that has allowed me as an infinite being to create in each moment. It's allowed me to be clear all the time and focused. And you know what, as a previous ADD entrepreneur, it's just, it's just been like the greatest gift since sliced bread. So, I really hope that you leave this webinar really getting into your creative flow, not just like knowing the how to, but I also really want you to perceive, know, be, and receive the energies that come through by being so dynamically present in your work. Let's go ahead and get started. I named this because I was trying to name it something cute with like numbers, but it's ended up to make me really happy calling it How to Make a Living Being Creatively You. And what I love about that title is creative. That also to me means we play in oneness with consciousness in some way. Like we can truly connect with those in our lives. And we allow in, the animals and the plants and the trees and all the other people. So in the efforts to create, my interview series, it's like, even today I had a joint venture call where I reached out and I said, I'm playing with this project. I definitely want to invite you. And who else do you know that might be a match for this? And would you make that connection for me, please? Because I really want to create how consciousness will allow me to create, instead of me creating from the conclusion, like it's going to be this way, and these are the people I want to invite, and there's not open for the energetic question. So here's specifically what I have in this program. If you read along with the handout, I won't read all this, but generally, I look at creator codes as these non-linear maps. Like, you know how a lot of coaches say, hand holding 1, 2, 3, step by step, you're going to learn this. Well, instead of doing it that way, I found that that made me incredibly heavy and exhausted. And I felt like I was constantly in this energy like, okay, well, I've got to go back to this step by step how to system to do this or to do that. And you know what? Some of those systems work great. And I think that it's important to integrate both our creativity and question with systems like that. And I found that as a creative, as truly an artist creating this business, that if I did too much of that figuring stuff out or learning the how-to technology, all my creativity was just gone. And I felt heavy and tired. It was draining my days. And it wasn't allowing me to do what I kind of call flow. And what I mean by flow is literally being so here that you know what to say next, you know what to do next. And you also have that bigger vision, for the lack of a better word, that bigger energetic vision that you can tap into, and that vision is feeding your next step. It's like it's just got your back on an ongoing basis. Good. So I hope this makes sense. And if I say something and you're like, I'm confused, will you go back? Will you please just type that in the chat, ask a question, and I will try to, as much as I can, really, really do this in a way that you get it, that you really get it. Teresa says, I've been learning the shift and flow, and I agree with the draining. Yeah, good. Yeah, this is, we've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs over the last 11 years, and I find over and over again how spiritual, creative beings really get snagged up sometimes. So we're also going to talk about how you can stop concluding what you think you have to do to grow your business or your project or whatever you're working on, so that you can really come from the question like, what if I would do this? Or what if I do that? And be more on a childlike state of curiosity. We're going to talk about, of course, love and the joy that flows through us as we create, and how to feed that in your work. It's have you ever seen a chef that makes these gorgeous Michelin meals, and then at the end they will kind of blow it a kiss, and it's an energy that's so true that you fall in love not just with the dish, but you fall in love with the whole experience, from finding and preparing the food all the way to the indulgent, the orgasmic state of what it tastes like. That's how I create my business, and that's what I want for you too. And there's a few certain things that if you can just shift them just a bit, you'll leave and you'll go, oh, wow, I want more of that in my life. Cool. Lastly, we're going to talk about really having a complete shift in perspective on how to grow your life from desire. Yeah, great. Welcome, AJ. Thanks for being here. Living the dream in Asheville, North Carolina. I love that. See, I just got that little twang accent going too. A little country twang. So who's this for? I mean, it's really for any creatives, creativepreneurs, I have professionals. We have doctors, consultants, trainers, speakers, authors, coaches. In my program, I even have people that are retired that are really just, looking to keep adding more what they call creative flow to life. So they add that in their gardens, they add it in the what they prepare food wise for their family and things like that. So, this is not, I sort of have crafted this one for creativepreneurs, but this is really for those of us that like to grow and like to grow with this creative flow, so to speak. Now, I say this at the webinar because I want you guys to pay attention. 90% of you guys listening will take no action on this. And I'm inviting you to change that statistic, because this program has not only helped me go from total anxiety, depression, and force creation into life, but it's allowed me to create almost orgasmically, where my whole days are lit up and I'm moving around and I'm excited and I'm meeting people and, everything is in flow, so to speak. I've also seen this done for a lot of our visionaries, and that is the program that you'll hear more about at the end of this. And these visionaries are experiencing life in a way that they didn't even know was possible. Like, it wasn't even something they were really seeking. It was really something that they thought they could have, but they didn't know it was possible. And as I go through the teaching, you'll see how this works. And what do you want to bet? You will feel the shift right here. Life design is simple when you focus on making a profound, desirable change and you trust the inner whispers. I like to put that here just so that you get, like, you can have what you think you want. If you had a magic wand, you would change something. That thing that you think that you want, that is yours, as soon as you congruently align with that. Let me show you how this works. And the reason that it feels so hard when I say that is you're like, but this, but that, but those, but these reasons. Well, all those reasons, excuses, and justifications are just your cognitive mind getting in the way. So all the reasons, excuses, and justifications that you have now about why you can't have that thing, or that even energy that you may be looking for, that more flow, would you be willing to, just for this webinar, you can pick it up at the end of this webinar, but would you be willing to just put it in a backpack and leave it outside the door? And if you want it, you can grab it again. And if you just want to blow it up and destroy all of them, would you be willing to let that go now? Cool. Take a breath and let's start flowing. One of the things we're designed to do is we're conditioned to control ourselves in that way. Like, we think, this is how my parents did life, this is how I need to do my life, and you're safe with things, right? And being safe in that way keeps you in this like delicious comfort zone. And your comfort zone is killing us, right? Not just you, it's killing us as a community, as a world. Because if you just take baby steps because you're fearful or you're scared to just go for it, then you won't, one, encourage someone else to go for it, and two, you won't create what you're here to create in the world. Like, imagine if all of us would just trust what we know that know we're inside of us, and go for it. Like, we would all just be living these exuberant, awesome lives and openly contributing to another, because there would be no lack. There would only be this beautiful, delicious flow and abundance. Good. Go ahead and take a breath. Let's. I'll show you some of these actual trainings. Is it time for you to wake up to this, right? Is it time to wake up to these desires, this whisper, this greatness that you know that you are, but in some way you're choosing not to be? Is now the time? Because I want to tell you, I woke up back in 2005. I was working this corporate job, and I was depressed, and I drank way too many Diet Cokes all day. I was just adding these like awful toxins to my body, because that was like one of the things that like kept me a little more comfortable in some like way. That was like my go-to something, because I needed just a little bit to like spark up my life. And it was a Wednesday afternoon. I will never forget this, because that moment I just snapped awake. I woke up, and you all have my book, Seven Dragons. That story on how I woke up is in that book, in a lot more detail than I'm going to give you now. And basically, I think that term rock bottom is definitely a great term now. I wasn't rock bottom as we think of in this reality, but, I was walking into the bathroom, and I was followed by a colleague who was, I was being pressured all day. I was in overwhelm, and they were pressuring me to get these numbers of some sort, like, 4 different spreadsheets that I managed. And when they went and they asked me something, like, they're like, did you get something from someone? And I didn't really even answer them, and I lost it at that moment. Like, I was peeing like midstream, and it was like I had to pee so bad because I had been delaying it for like more than a couple hours. I was just like, I have got to go. And that woke me up for some weird reason, and I just like wanted to throw things. I basically at that moment just got up, got dressed, and didn't say a word and left. I walked down the stairs, left my corporate job. Now, I did try to go back, and I did try to, still do my job in the next couple weeks. And then I have all these other synchronicity things started to happen to me. So, I finally went to a colleague, and this is in the Seven Dragons book, and I said, you think the universe is telling me something? And he was basically, in the most sarcastic way, he goes, you think? And at that moment, what I now call the knower, like the knower, the capital Knower, like my knower kicked in. It was like, I know I have to make a change here. And I was scared. And I was so scared. I was terrified of letting go of a 6-figure income. I was terrified of what I would be able and capable of doing. I didn't know what it took to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what it took to, go for my dreams. it was just easy and comfortable to get up, go to a day job, make money, and go home, except while I was there for 8 hours a day and often more, I, wanted to kick something or hide under a rock or something like that. So that's the mini story of it. So if you're going through something like that, that story in that book, I'm sure can help. I want to tell you a little bit about my life now. In 2011, my staff, I can't even, take credit for being alone here, but my staff, we had made 1.2 million. It was like 1 million point 19 something. And that year, I didn't even know that I did until I did my taxes, that we had made that much gross. We did that I hosted these interview series, what they, like back in the real TeleSummit days when TeleSummits were brand new. And I did about 4 big launch TeleSummits that year, and that generated just a huge, massive audience. And then I had also behind if they bought a product from one of my speakers, then I invited them to join, my tribe of light, my inner circle tribe. And so I filled this inner circle tribe. So that's really where the wealth came from, was a combination of, having, all these JV partners and also having that back end program where I had a tribe that paid me monthly, and it was, it was really freaking amazing for some years. But what ended up happening at that time, besides the money, you think you have money and you can get all this help, but we had systems not set up on the back end of the business. And there was a lot of manual labor. There was a lot of customer service. There was a lot of phone calls happening. And then it was directed to either my assistant's phone or mine. So we always had someone's phone ringing. And some of those conversations would take a little while to get their order to them, make sure they can download it properly, all this stuff. And because I didn't have good systems in place and I didn't ask enough questions, I was in this place where that flow that I speak of, that I now have today, like it just couldn't exist, because I was doing so many things that were draining me, that were frustrating me, that just were not what me as the leader and the vision holder for my company should be doing. And that's when I made a shift, and I started to follow the question in every way. So in other words, like here's a really quick tip. If something drains you, ask a question. Like, truth, is this taking from my joy, right? You'll probably get a yes, like a big, oh my gosh, yes. And once you get that, then you can say, so what would it take for someone else or something else to do this? Is it even required for my company to do this, for me to do this? And if it is currently required, what would it take to change it so that you could fall in love with that again, right? If that's going on for any of you and you would like me to take you through that, then just put it in the chat. You don't have to do it right now, but as it comes up, I would love to hear that. I just want to introduce you really quick to my family. This picture here on your computer, of course, in the upper left, that's me and my husband. Below that is me and my daughter. Yes, she's adopted from China. We've had her since she was a baby. And that was kind of a cute story and a journey after I left my day job too. That in the middle is me doing a headstand on the beach where our new beach house is. And in the upper right is me and my golden. We now have another little black lab that's a puppy and lots of puppy energy. If you follow me on Snapchat at Real Raw You, you'll get introduced to my puppy because I can't not take her picture. She's just so adorable. And then you'll see my older son, that was his graduation last summer. And it's just it's just been such an incredible journey with my family and my kids, and I just wanted to share it. I'm a mom, right? I'm a mom first. So with that being said, here's one of our events. Once or twice a year, it depends. I used to do these events, oh gosh, like 4 times a year. Now I just do it once, and it's intimate. It's at my beach house. The next one is September 15th. So if you know you're getting the vibe, you want to work with me, and you might want to have that date in hand. I'll only accept 20 to the beach house, and it's in Port Aransas, Texas. So it's like on an island here. So it's not like the easiest thing to drive or get to, but just kind of seeding that for a moment. This is some of the things where we've done media or gotten picked up in some way. So, I just think it's like good. Yes, I've been doing this for some time. I know what I'm doing here. I just think it's important to put that in there. Some of my other programs and books, most of it's digital, online. I run an online blog at Real Raw You. It's got some product endorsements, like some of the best of the best. I like to review, some of the things that I use that is just life-changing for me. So that, and there's my podcast is on that. And then there's also just some fun conscious-based stories about regrets, and you can kind of peek in the middle. There's an ice cream. I'm also an author of a novel called Falling in Stilettos. So that might be something that makes you curious or light up. Writing a novel was quite a unique experience. Might be some time before I write another one, let's just say. Okay, so let's get into the content. I want to introduce you to these like non-linear whisper maps. So you can get back in your flow and you can create your life more by design. So what do I mean by maps? I mean like systems. Energetic first, right? There's first energetic systems, and then there's, real systems that we can, write down 1, 2, 3 how-to stuff, right? So it's like the whole spectrum. You'll see what I mean. So let me show you these 3 whisper maps. They will help you do these 3 things. Number 1, get crystal clear on your desires, like knowing exactly what you desire, not you desire because, your father always thought you would be something, or not something that you desire because you have to do it, to make money or to, to get something, right? but like a true desire that you just, can't wait to get your hands on, right? But you've been not getting your hands on it because you have all these other obligations. It's also going to clear out the nonsense that's not true for you. I use some of the work from Access Consciousness to do that. And what's so brilliant about this work is the question clears. If you are to ask a question, you don't even need to know, like, did this come from my inner child and I've got to remove that? Oftentimes you can just ask the question and it will remove that. And then you'll be booging along on life and you'll go all of a sudden, boom, and you go, what? That's not how I would normally respond or react to this. Or wait, I'm not even responding or reacting. Lastly, we play with what I call quests. And like, for example, one of the quests that I had was to do a headstand one year. Now I want to do a handstand. Like, that's a quest. And so in a yoga class each day, I approach it as, oh, okay, that's one of my quests. So, what crafty thing can I play with now so that I move forth in the quest, right? So, maybe I need to strengthen my hands and my fingers. Maybe I just need to strengthen my arm, use the wall for a bit. But I'm asking my intuition, I'm asking the whispers within, like, what should I choose? Now, if for some reason it would feel like totally fun and light to go to a handstand retreat, well then, of course, that would be a part of me following the energy along with this quest. So how we design our lives in my life design school, which I'll tell you about at the end of this, is we make these various quests, and then when it's time to play with the quest, then we have it and we know it right there, and we just have to ask a question. Today, what would I like to play with that quest? And you'll see how it works. I'm getting to it. Here we go. So I hope this is all making sense. We're not going too fast. Let's see. Anybody have a question? Let's just take a minute here. Teresa said, applying what we know, it's easier to give up control. Yeah, when you know that you don't have to do as much control. And a lot of this work is really becoming so connected with your knower that you know what's light. Like, the truth makes you feel lighter. A lie always makes you feel heavier, right? So if something feels heavy, but you think you should do it, there's more questions that need to be asked upon it. Some of those questions may be, what if I wouldn't choose it? Okay. I asked my list if they have a magic wand, what would they choose? And I was really more important with how that would make them feel. If you choose this, how will this make you feel? Like, I just want to know. And the responses were profound. I got all of them from, I just want to feel joy again in my life. And I just played with them and coached them, and I would ask, this one particular lady, I said, well, when was the last time you felt joy? And she responded, when I was 2, and I got a lollipop. And so I asked her, I said, well, what happened at 2, to solidify that non-joy? And she knew exactly. And she came back and, she said, well, that was when my parents started fighting and ultimately ended in separation, and this, that, and the other. And, I asked her, I said, so all that meant for you, would you now be able to destroy that? And she wrote me back and she's like giggling. I'm like almost laughing here. And she said, I'm starting to feel joy again, and I think I can from here. And I thought, how simple it is to change somebody's life by just asking a couple questions. And those are some of the maps, right? Is the simple ones where you can just have them look at, things were good until this happened. And sometimes they, at that point, made some sort of conclusion about the situation, about themselves, and they didn't really acknowledge that there was, something else going on than what they thought. And so, why am I sharing this with you? Because if you want a phenomenal life, if you want to create your life by design, then you need to know that you have quite a lot of magic. You need to fill up on acknowledging your true magic, because you all have it. So I invite you to start filling up on your magic. Take a breath. I want you for a minute of noticing, if you had that magic wand, I want you to notice and just be for a moment those feelings. If you had a magic wand, you could change anything. I want you just for a moment to be those feelings, right? It's different. It's like, wow, this is what it feels like to have $1 million in the bank. This is what it feels like to have my dream home. This is what it feels like to have a chef. This is what it feels like to have a house cleaner, a chef, and a gardener, right? Or maybe it's not even that profound. This is what it feels like to feel joy, right? Cool. So continue to play in that energy. Like, just choose that. Now I want to take you through this is our first map that we're officially going to do. And I call this the target map. And I want you to get that change. And now I want you to look on the right side of your screen, that change that you would like to have. Is it on the now? Can you have it in 1 to 2 weeks? Can you have it in 3 to 6 months? Can you have it in 1 year? Can you have it in 3 to 5 years, right? And I want you to kind of look at that level and say, okay, yeah, I think that what I would like here, I can have in 1 year, okay? I want you to get the energy of what it feels like to have it on the time that you chose, right? So look at the calendar, think, okay, 1 year from July 13th, it's July 13th, 2017, and you now have whatever you wanted on your wish, right? Okay, you got that energy. I want you to get into the energetics of being that. Now I want you to think of, okay, so you're going for it, you're on the quest for it, but what does it feel like to be like 3 to 6 months out with it? Like, there might feel like there's a little more urgency with it. It might feel that, there's some things required of you with it, okay? Now this is when it gets really profound. I want you to move it now to what I call the sprint. And there are certain things that are required for you to connect, either energetically or physically with, or actions to be taken. What is required for you to choose so that you get on that 1-year path to having that thing? And then that's where you'd start making your list of, I think I want to do this, is how it usually starts out with entrepreneurs. I think I need to do this. And that word, I think, is a great place to start, because then, cool, for one, you're not 100% committed. And two, you know that you can choose it or not. Now, if you choose it, then you need to do everything that you got as an intuitive hit on that list. If you want to start a blog, you need to, get and learn the things required to do that. And that needs to go on your list, and you just choose it, right? And then those are all your now steps. I call that the now game. And you just play it. Like, you just play the game. And so some visioneers, they will do, their whole life with quests. Others of them quest by meaning like going for the handstand, right? Others, and you can do it in, areas like food, business, fitness, family, sex and intimacy is one that I have on mine. Even creating like an app or something like that, right? Like, where's my quest on this? And, we've got these different tools within the Life Design School so that you can keep on track, and you just have to play the game. Like, you just gamify everything in your life. One of the things I recently shared on my blog, one thing I shared on my blog was, I play with literally a timer block. And if I think something's going to take me 5 minutes, I put on the 5-minute side of the timer. Then after that 5 minutes up, I give myself, more time or not. And then I will time my next task. And I make it like this freaking game and see how fast I can go for things. I've been doing this with my staff too. Like, I'll just drop the timer in front of them and go, okay, you've got 15 minutes. Get this done. And it becomes like this fun play speed game, in a world where everything is like sluggish and slow, and we procrastinate, and we try to avoid things, and we try to go in different directions. So that being said, so this is how to get your target map. Now in the program, we go a little bit more into the energetics. We take like an hour to go through this whole mapping process so that you can really sink into the frequencies and the vibrations. And we do it from a space of first question, but also question from this expanded space. Like, if you go out, a mile from your body, right? What do you perceive that might be different than what you perceive here, right? You go out 10 miles, you go out to the earth, right? What if you'd create from that space? What if you'd create from that space of being and use your magic, add sprinkles in other people's heads to contribute to your vision, contribute to your movement, right? So that's how this works. The next map is like a different one. And so it's just questions here. So I'm going to take you through it so that you see how, like, this is called the clarity map, which is great. It helps you get really clear. So who wants clarity? If you want clarity, chime in on the chat and say yes. I think there's a delay. I just got back to the chat because I'm on the slides. So cool. Yes, please. Teresa says, cool. Yes, we all need clarity. Often, yeah. Cool. Woohoo. All right, let's go into clarity. So one of the things that I found, that the reason that this map came up was, it was like one day I would like conclude and call myself certain things, right? Like, I'm a life coach. And I would say that, like, in my head, this is what I do for my business. I'm a life coach. And then I'd be like, no, I'm a vlogger, right? And then I'd be like, no, movement creator. And it was weird because as soon as I would identify like what I did, I would feel limited. Bizarre. It seems bizarre to me that I would do that. And like, I know what I'm doing and I know my task at hand. I realized when I did that, I was not present. I just wasn't present at all with myself. Like, I was just going back into old habits, old behaviors, and concluding that I had to have a niche market and different things like that. And what that was doing was killing my creativity, and it was stopping the creation of the real raw you movement. So here are the questions within the clarity map. We made them bigger so you could see them. Number one is, if you could have, be, or change anything, what would that be? Now that could sound very similar to the magic wand, and it may be the same for you, but I like asking it specifically this way. If you could have, be, or change anything, what would that be? Okay. Whatever that is your next quest, right? So if it's your weight, right? Say, if I had a magic wand, if I could have, be, or change anything, I would, take 20 pounds off my body, right? Great. So that is your next quest, right? There's no if, and, buts about it, because your knower inside of you knows. It's like, okay, got it. That is my next quest. So you got that, write it down. Now you've got to choose it, right? And this is where you're like, you're like, darn it. So here we go. This should probably read, what are the hidden considerations, conclusions, expectations, or resistance that come up when you consider choosing that? Like, we're just playing here with considering it. Like, you don't have to commit to it yet. Well, but what are the considerations? Like, would it be hard work? Okay. Would it be a dreadful journey? Would it create overwhelm? I can't because of blah, blah, blah excuse. I can't because of this, or because it'll cause this or that. All those are, and everything that is, would you be willing to destroy and then create? Take a breath. Yeah, right, wrong, good, bad is part of the clearing statement for access. So now you have more choice. Okay, so now is the biggie. It's like, choose it, don't choose it. It's sort of, Yoda should be sitting here, right? It's like, okay, let's be Yoda. Are you willing to choose it? Will you choose it? right? Now, all the conclusions that you have on what that means to choose it, would you be willing to destroy those? And take a breath. All the conclusions that you have that make you think a story around this, would you destroy that? Yeah. And anything that's keeping you from being the energy, space, and consciousness of choosing it, would you destroy that? Awesome. Thank you. So with that choice, did something just change in you? Did something allow you to shift? Would you be willing to acknowledge that? And when that happens, would you be willing to acknowledge that change really does happen that fast? Cool. All right, take a breath. Now, be that energy. And then you can ask, what will it take to ongoingly be that, ongoingly choose that? Now, this is when it goes back to the target map and you can place that energy on the target map. Yeah. So if you have whatever that was, I hope you guys went through it with me. You can put that back on your map. Like that's where, the quest begins, right? And then each morning you get up with your map and you get into the energies of all those levels. And then you play that now game with what do I need to choose right away? What do I need to choose right away? What do I need to choose right away for that? Cool? Like, do y'all feel a little more clear after that? Is that fun? Yeah? Teresa's like, yes, I choose it! Yeah, Nancy says, I've been waiting almost 4 years for a legal inheritance to be settled. Yeah, I'm 77 years old. Yeah. So like things like that, you actually do have a little bit of power over that as well. Really asking people to contribute to changing that. How do I obtain clarity on the favorable outcome? Again, you got to go back to the question with that. Like that one is a one where you've got to choose what you really want. Like, what would be the favorable outcome that you want, right? When would you want it? That's your quest. And then continue to be with the question of who do I need to call? What's required of me today? And that would be what goes on your now target. Cool. Awesome. Cool. I'm glad you're liking this. Sounds like a lot of you are liking it. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so now that we're a little more clear, let's go into this final one. Now, this most likely occurs in that now area of the target. Like, so that's kind of how they go together. Like, we've got all kinds of other maps. Like, there's an overwhelm map. There's an expansion map. There's, this kind of map where you don't really place anything on here until it's required to. And how this one works, we call this the whisper cycle. And so you'll see in even going through the clarity map, like I asked you, if you could have and be anything, what would you choose? And then that's a question. So then that opens the door for consciousness to contribute back. Now, remember, consciousness can come through anything. Like, it can come through another person, it can come through a television set, it can come through a text on your phone, right? When you ask a question, it can be tangible like that, or it can be really intuitive. Whatever it is, you will know. You will know when the whisper comes in. So to stay present doing this, this is how we do it. We use this whisper cycle. So it's constantly, I wonder if this would work, and allowing the next step to show up. Whisper doesn't always come right away. Sometimes it's like there before you even ask the question. No, I'm not here to teach you intuition, but I want to have this in here so you can play with it. Because sometimes you go, it's like the whisper seems almost like not even there. You just go, yes, I'm choosing this. And you just go question choice. So, and it can go all these different ways. It goes question, whisper, choice. It can go choice, question, you know. So, you know, we really looked at this with the tribe, and we became more and more curious on how do these whispers, like, is there a certain order to them? Talk about non-linear. Like, this is the way that you stay present with it. And this is the way you stay on the quest. It's just to play curiosity. So I wanted to put that third map in. So simple, yeah. Cool, easy. Is it easy? Yeah. Let me know on the chat. Easy? Well, it's not always. Here's why. Because for one, it requires your desires, and it requires you to be in alignment with them and congruent with them, instead of doing what most people do in this reality, which is rejecting every one of them. It also requires you to know that you know, and develop that intuition, develop that knower, which also takes a little bit of practice if you haven't been on the journey to practice that. And lastly, it also takes you stepping in and being your greatness. You stepping out of comparison, stepping out of trying to get something from someone else, but knowing that they can be the contribution. And it requires you to trust yourself. And even trust takes time for us to create and have. So how I look at it is, you know, it's desires, like really knowing yours, knowing your intuition, those intuitive whispers, being that greatness, and then moving with your now game, you know, playing in the active action of this all. Cool. And the truth is, we're not always being our greatness, let alone present and clear to take actions that will move us forward. We're, you know, we just don't operate. Many of us have not been taught that. And that's why I've created my Visioneering program, which is in the Life Design School, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about now, because your knower knows. And we, you know, in it, teach you all those things. We teach you how to develop those intuitive whispers so strong that you can't help but be on the quest. We talk with you and work with you on knowing your desires. And we also really play with you being that greatness. Like, we see everyone else as just great. It's a land of zero judgment and all play. So that's kind of tells you a little bit more about how this all works. So whatever your quest is that you chose when we went through the clarity map, it still includes knowing that energetic vision, following those signposts. And this work is 100% teachable. I've been doing it for the last 6 years, and it is the #1 initiative in the Visioneering program that I'm with you in, right? This isn't like you just buy a program, you do it, and off you go. Like, I work with everyone. And sometimes I work almost individually with them. Today I sent an email and said, hey, I want to hear how your homework is going. I haven't, seen you all be posting on Facebook. Like, we have a Facebook group and I ask them there, and I had to respond back to 4 people who wanted to kind of keep it private for me. So this is like personal help with me. Just want you to understand that. So here's how it works. Here's exactly what happens. First, we talk about desire. Really getting clear about what you truly desire, right? Some people know, some people have no clue. Like, they know a few things they love, and then, they'll kind of act like they don't even love it that much. So this is about hunting down, clearing out the things that you aren't, so that you know who you are, right? And we go through all kinds of question clearings to do that. Clearings from, how you've, bastardized your belief systems and some of the inventions that you've created that make things hard work in your world, or some inventions that you've created in your reality, and things have to show up, and they can't show up because you have these other invented mindsets, so to speak. Then we talk about whisper flow, right? Like, really imagine knowing the activities that give you energy, that light you up, that turn you on, that get you excited. And then also knowing that what turns you off, like, it's heavy. And really being so present in each moment that you can't help but following the light. And when it's not light, you ask a question. You might do it that one time, but you ask a question about, what else might be required to change this, so I don't have to keep doing this. If it, exhausts you to, do something that you do regularly that you shouldn't be doing, we can ask a question, and maybe it can even be done a different way, right? Cool. We talk about, of course, presence. Like, presence is my thing. If I'm with someone and they are not present, usually they will leave the conversation getting present. This is really an interesting, task, because there are so many people that are just like in the past or in the future, or they're trying to be in the future, but they're thinking about the past. I mean, all these different scenarios, and you can tell when they're just like, no, not showing up, or they've separated and they've just gone away. It's kind of interesting. Sometimes it's interesting being with a body where the being is so separate from it. Like, there's a body there in front of me, I see that, but where are you? So this course also talks a lot about that. We talk about being your greatness, like not comparing yourself, not, there's no relationship to anything, right? You're not in relationship with, even a spouse. Instead, you're in a communion with them, right? If you're in relation, there's some proximity between you. But if you're in a communion, then you commune. You're the contribution. It's like both giving and receiving. So there's over 20 lessons where we clear out some of the gunk, where we fill you up, with your own acknowledging your magic, your miracles. And it's proven, right? This is not something that I'm just throwing out and testing. It's like, I think this is going to work, right? We've proven this. We've had a couple hundred entrepreneurs go through this. We see the results. I get the testimonials. I hear about it. And you have to be present to do it, right? You have to, like, this is not something that you just choose and you go away, we have these, action maps, like you've got homework. And it requires you to be so present that you always know what your next action is, right? You will craft what you know through your knower, the actions you need to take to get to your quest. It's just simply that simple. So it also, we're developing these communities. Like there's, I'm really have the vision of having several of these little pod groups of no more than 20, where we, have our group, we know each other, we work together, that you become friends. And that especially happens when you come to the live events, right? But it can also happen on Facebook, and really, being in a tribe of light, that's really what I'm going for here. Is each other's got your back. They're not going to judge you. That they're not going to, act like they're better than you or anything like that. They're not going to try to prove anything to you. They just see your greatness and you see theirs. So if you want to learn how to do this, then definitely don't join this program. Like, that's my reverse psychology for the day. And this is exactly the system I use to create my creative flowing business. The reason I'm doing this work is because I know what it takes to grow a business, right? And then I realized I thought that it took force and fight and manipulation and, telling people what they only wanted to hear to get them to do something for me. Like, I thought it required all those pieces. And then when I let all those things go and said, that doesn't even feel light, then I fell into this creative flowing where you get up every morning and you just do your now games. Like, you just play and you get in the energy and you create from this expanded energy, and you just have fun. So here's exactly how it's formatted. So if you're interested, at the end there's a special price, by the way. But the full life design training course, which is the 6-month program, which also does lead into becoming a life design coach in my program. And if you're interested in more than that, I can give you the exact details on that. But the full training course, it includes access to all modules. There's over 12 modules. In each module, there are downloadable MP3s, there are worksheets, and there are 3 to 4 MP3s per module. 3 to 4 60-minute. Like, this is a big course. And you also will get our live group facilitation, which I'll hit on in just a minute. You also get what we call the Life Design School Vault, where struggling entrepreneurs came to me and I facilitated them with questions. So you learn how to do that question, like, how I showed you that facilitation with the lady and the magic wand. That's what you would get to learn. So you could kind of facilitate yourself. You could learn how to facilitate if you want to become more of a coach. You also get access to my private Facebook group, where every day somebody's on there telling something about what's great or what they need help with, and they're asking a question. And then the best part is each month we get on a live Zoom call, and we just go through the, the topic of the month, right? So last month we did what we call the B factor. I know this probably doesn't mean anything, but that was one of the maps, like a B factor. And we started to craft some of their quests from the energy of being. Well, you get that lesson, but then the biggest part is, there's like 9 to 10 per group. We're on a Zoom video, and you just get to ask me whatever you want to ask. Like, I had someone ask me about joint venture partners and, how do I reach out to them with emails, and would I be willing to share the emails that I send out? And yeah, absolutely. Like, anything that is in my back end to my company, I will give you access to if I can. Some of the systems that we have for how to run the shopping cart and the blog, like, if you ask, you can get that, right? That's not really taught, because I want you guys to follow your whispers. Cool. We also do this, every like 2 to 3 months when I have the whim for it. I call it a scrum week, where each morning for 5 mornings we get up and we scrum. Like, I just go round robin and we go, okay, what are you working on? What are your blockers? And what do you need help with? And just help you get really clear on, where you're getting stuck. And maybe we can clear it right then and there. And maybe it would require that we have to wait until the group facilitation. But whatever it is, it keeps you going. It keeps you flowing. Like, this is about just going into constant movement and action. I have this also written on the site, so I won't go through it. CORE in our work stands for Creative Orgasmic Real Raw Energy. And to create from that space in everything that you do is really my goal here. So that you do it so well that you create your life by design. I talked a little bit about the vault. There's more on the site. We talked a little bit about, some of the action lessons. Really, you're crafting your own action, but we're doing it together so that you don't kind of get in your own stuff. And then for those of you that join tonight, you will immediately get a live private from me, which, is a $300 value. So if you want to work with me in some way and you want that coaching session, now would be the time. Everything is downloadable, right? There's a login. We mentioned about the weekly sprints. Here's the mastermind. I'm having another little bonus course that I'm going to do in December that's going to include things like a social media checklist, right? It's going to, include a few other components that you may have, you may want. So that's also written up on the site. Lastly, every one of you guys that join me are invited to my beach house. There is an upgrade fee with that. And when I talk about price in just a second, I'll get to that. Here's what the price point is. It's a one-time fee of $9.97. And that includes everything that I just went through. Or or you can pay monthly, right, over 6 months, which is $197 per month for 6 months. So that's the deal. Here's the link. Go to lifedesignschool.org. Actually, for those of you that are on this webinar now, I'm going to give you a special offer. Go to lifedesignschool.org/exclusive. And I will leave that up through Saturday morning. I'll leave it up through Saturday morning. lifedesignschool.org/exclusive. I'll put it in the chat so you guys can have it. And that will give you, I believe it's $400 off. Let me go to the site and see real quick. We've been giving that to some previous partners. So let me just check. But I want you guys, if you want that, to get it, lifedesignschool.exclusive. That would make the monthly payment then is just $97. So that already takes off. Okay, so it's $597. So you get $400 off. This says offer closes June 25th. Just ignore that, okay? It's open through Saturday morning. And it's $597. Or there's also a 6-pay plan. And I think that there's a small fee with that. But you can, it's like $97 a month, right? So if that calls you, it's actually $115 a month. So if you want to do this and you're looking, and you need, and money's a thing, if money's one of your quests, then order now because you get $400 off. Which is, I think, absolutely spectacular. Life Design School /exclusive. Let me go ahead and highlight this link and I will put it in the chat. Now I just want to open it up for questions, not necessarily about the Life Design School, but just like questions that you have. Like if you want some coaching, we can go, through the whole shebang. I'll coach you, right? You need to make sure you're chatting and responding to me. But cool. Chad said it's helping me immensely. I love reading that. Thank you. I'm glad. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't take much to get clear, right? Just gotta get clear. I'm trying to get over to the chat here. I'm having a little bit of trouble. I apologize for that. So what's going on? Tell me what's in your world, what you're not clear about. Is there something I can help you with? One of the people that, let's see, Teresa says, Shesh, I work in that industry and now in improving again. I don't know what I was talking about at the time. Meaning others having your back. Yeah, driving by. When are the Scrum meetings? So they'll be in the morning Central Time, probably 9 o'clock Central Time. The next planned one is next month on the very first week of August. It's going to be the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and we'll just get up and go. Yeah. Yeah, and Leonka said, be sure you're typing lifedesignschool.org. It's actually lifedesignschool.org/exclusive. I can't figure out why I can't seem to. I wonder if I can reply to somebody and everybody see it. So money baggage, that one's not just one question away always, right? But think about, bring up the crappy energy around it, and truth, who does it belong to? Is usually the place that I would start with that one. Like, when your parents did taxes and your mom's stomach got all twisted because they didn't know if they were going to have enough to pay for them, were you so intuitive that you perceived that energy, that turning, that twisting? Well, all that energy that you've been taught in that way is hers, not yours, right? So would you be willing to destroy and uncreate all that that is? And take a breath. And first, all the energies where you do money like someone else, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate? All energies where you're buying the lie that you can't make it, you can't create it, instead of knowing that you can, and it's part of your reality, would you destroy and then create? Yeah. And take a breath. Everywhere where you bought that you can actually even have a struggle in this reality, which is a really interesting concept, I know. Like, you're like, you don't understand, don't see my world. Well, here's the thing. It's only a struggle if it happens over time, right? So in other words, if you don't do time like everyone else in this reality, you can't do struggle because you're present. So wherever you have bought something, a lie, over and over and over again, and crafted a struggle, would you be willing to let that go? And take a breath. Barbara asks, what's a good question when my client / or self does not know how to find their desires? Okay, so yeah, there's actually a way. That's a great question. Thank you for it. So I usually, with those people that sometimes they don't even want to look at it, I will have them on one side of the paper say like all the things they don't like in their life, and just have them like list everything that's draining them or they don't like, or they, just kind of, hate, for lack of a better word. And, and just have them like indulge in it, like indulge in all the icky. And then once they will indulge in that, I'll ask them if they would be willing to remove those energies. And if there was none of that, what might be the things that they liked? What might be the things that they liked when they were 8 or 12, right? That's where it starts. Because everybody has desires, and they've like kind of buried them over years. They're just like down there, so dirty. Like, you're not allowed to have it. My parents didn't live their desires. Yeah, not gonna have it. And to kind of, recall some of those. Like, even if they were bike riding and that, with friends or something like that, you'd ask, okay, what is it that you really liked about that? Did you like the playful community with your friends? Or did you like just indulging in your bike? Like, what is it? What is that energy? And where else have you noticed in your life that shows up? So you kind of got to be a little detective when it comes to it. But that's kind of one of the places that I start people, is to first look at what they don't want. Because usually people that have trouble finding their desires are doing a ton of things that they don't want, that they've concluded that they have to do because they've always done it. Like, it's not even like they have to do it for something, but they've always done it, so that's what they do. And that's something that, for some reason they started doing that resistance, that reaction, whatever it is, and then they're locked in. Well, Barbara, let me know if that helps. It takes a little bit of soothing out, though. Like, they've got to really be wanting to seek those desires, or they'll just keep it hidden because that's their comfort zone. That's where it's safe. Cool. Awesome. All right, you guys. Any other questions? Anything else you want to play with? Just gone about 90 minutes here. So thank you guys for being present. Appreciate that. If you're not sure that this is for you, or this is too intense or too big, I've got a little other something that I will send in your email that might get you excited. So I just want to let you know that'll be coming next week. If you like this work, but you don't want to dive this deep, okay? But yeah, so $400 off our 6-month program. The next class is next week. So the 21st would be the next class if you want to join us live for that class, our whole little small group coaching class. So if that calls you, I hope you join us. And I look forward to, I'm going to do these, every couple of months. So stay on the list, and, I'm going to change things up. I'll be promoting another product next month. So, thanks for being here. I appreciate your presence. I look forward to meeting you sometime. Maybe we'll cross paths somewhere. Make sure you let me know. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, everyone.